Hi guys, this is Orchid. Today I'm working on a pleated twin headboard. I will be using plywood to make it. This is half-inch plywood. Plywood normally comes in 4x8 sheets, so I will be able to make two twin beds out of this. The wood on top is what I'm going to use to reinforce the perimeter. It is 3 1/4 by 3/4 inch, and they come in 8 foot length. And they normally sell for around $2. You'll need two lengths of this. Now I didn't miter the edges. I just cut the wood straight and put them around the perimeter. So the plywood is half-inch. The wood is 3/4 inch. So I'm using 1 inch screws. I should have probably used 1 1/4 inch, but they didn't have any. So what I did, I screwed from the back, and then I flipped it over and screwed again on the front just to ensure that it's really reinforced. Now next I got 1 inch foam, and I think this was 3.5 yards. Foam is usually sold by the foot, and I think I paid $2 per foot. Depending on where you are, you could pay as much as $4. I am going to also wrap that foam on top of the plywood with half-inch batting. So I cover the entire plywood with the foam, and then I'm going to cover that with the batting and staple it on the reverse. So I pull that taunt, flip it, put some staples in at the beginning when it was the other way down, flip it over, pull it taut, and then staple it all around. Normally, I think sometimes upholsterers will glue the foam on, but I didn't do that. So this is what it looks like once I have put the foam over the batting over the foam and stapled it. Now the fabric I'm using for this, guys, it's actually curtains. Yes, I am using curtains. These were curtains I picked up in Home Goods. They're really beautiful, but I just didn't like them at my windows. It's a little too shiny for me, so I opted to use it here instead. Now I'm doing a pleated headboard, so I lay the pleats out like you saw me doing earlier first, pin them down, pin it, and then I just draped it over the headboard, and then I started stapling. Now you have to stand the headboard up to do the top portion of it, and I've made sure to staple wherever I had the seams for the pleats right across. The curtain is actually 52 inches by 95, and I pulled the seams out at the sides to give me the extra couple of inches. Next I laid it flat, and this is where you extend the pleats all the way down to the bottom and just staple at the bottom. Now it's very important that you every now and then you get up and stand back to look at it, because I completed it, then when I stood up my pleats were a little bit slanted, so I had to undo it all together, remove all the staples, and redo it. So your best bet is every now and then just get up, stand back, and take a look at what you're doing, just to make sure they are actually straight. Then I flip it over and just secured it in the back, the bottom and the sides. And I'm using my manual stapler for this. It's very user-friendly. So for the wings, which extend down to become the legs of the bed, I picked up this 2x6x10 foot plank, I would say, in Home Depot, and they cut stuff for you too, guys. I should have said this earlier. They do cut the wood for you. And then on top of that, I got this 1.5x1.5x8 foot, and I am using that to attach the wing to the headboard. So I'm using 3-inch wood screws again. You have to use wood screws, and I'm drilling the holes into that 1.5x1.5 piece. Then I screwed it onto the 2x6. So it's next I'm moving on to wrapping that with the batting. Now, normally upholsterers will use like a 1/4 inch foam to wrap the wings of the headboards, but I am going really low budget on this, so I'm using batting because batting is much cheaper. I got my batting, I think it was $2.50, or depending on where I go, $2 per yard. So same effect or similar effect as a 1/4 inch um, foam, but for much less. Make sure you trim away the excess. Now I'm cutting the fabric for the wing, and I'm using the seam of the curtain to kind of ensure that I lay it straight, because it has a print on it and I didn't want it to look twisted. So that was kind of my guide to ensure that when I stretched it around, it was straight. When I did the other end with a raw edge, I folded that under and just stapled it, staying away from that 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch that I screwed onto the 2x6 planks. Now I used one curtain for the actual headboard and then another half of a second one to do the wings. So on average you will need roughly 3 to 4 curtain panels if should you decide to go with curtain panels. Now I am drilling holes into the 1.5 by 1.5 that I screwed onto the 2x6, the legs, and next I just screw those in. So now you'll need help because the headboard is now on the side and I am just screwing that onto the wing. So this is how it looks from the back. So you see where that 1.5 inch that I screwed onto the wing, and then I screwed through that into the rear of the headboard. So I'm going to show you the headboard first. Here it is, just by itself. Not a difficult DIY, guys, at all. Remember, Home Depot cuts the wood for you. Here it is now. I just kind of set it up so you could see what it looks like with a bed. So I didn't attach any hardware onto the headboard to hook the bed frame onto. Instead, I much prefer to attach the headboard to the wall, which means you will have to screw into the studs, but I prefer that, to be honest. And then you simply slide the bed frame with the box spring and mattress up to the headboard. This project cost me under $50. Not at all difficult. Doable in a day if you have nothing else to do. Your feedback always appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye now.